the official Neo Tokyo podcast. We don't take anything we say seriously. Anything we say or do does not reflect on Neo Tokyo itself. We're a bunch of degens representing Neo Tokyo news, doing our best to bring you the goods. What do you think, Shamsi?
Yeah, man, we are not. That's it. That's all I got.
I wasn't sure if you cut off again.
Yeah, man. NFT space is slowly growing into the mainstream. I mean, recently I saw FIFA, which is the largest football or soccer international body in the world. They just announced some World Cup themed NFTs. So we're definitely making way. But guys, welcome back to the show. Today we don't have me wearing glasses. We also don't have Budwudja in the room with ZeHi and myself. He's not doing very good. I think the alpha got the best of him, and he did not really take profits before the markets dumped 10%. So I think he's bedridden. So we wish him the best. But we're still here to bring you some spicy rubbish, to say the least. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a good show. What do you think?
Yeah, man, we're all about it. Sending our best wishes to Budwudja. You know, in these bull markets, when it starts getting going, you know, people forget to take care of the body, man. Get wiped out sometimes, but he'll be back with us dropping all the alpha next time. So we're looking forward to that. And starting off this week, we're going to dive right into it as usual. Things are continuing to just ramp up in Neo Tokyo. It never stops. I don't know what you say here, Shamsi, but right there, I mean, you can see with Alex Becker's latest announcement, Immutable X in the Citadel. Amazing, huh? How's that?
Yeah, man, I think this is, again, somehow they just, Becker and Elliot, somehow they just keep going up and up and up. I mean, if you look at the size of Immutable X, it's a $2.6 billion market cap. So it's a pretty hefty project coming in. And again, they're the OGs of the crypto gaming space. They've been building infrastructure in the space for the longest time. The last bull run, they ran the show to a certain extent. And yeah, just in terms of what they can bring to the table, I think it's a great addition, and they have a great team. And this is just another addition to the already long list of, I don't even know how many pages this list has gone, of projects that are killing it inside Neo Tokyo. And with SitCap and the allocations that we're going to get for pre-sales and seed investment into a lot of these companies, I think it's going to be absolutely mayhem. And I actually don't think the FOMO has set in yet for people that aren't inside Neo Tokyo, because when people saw Bored Ape Yacht Club go up with the aggression that it did, there was a fair deal of FOMO that came in. Now, granted, that was within the confines of a bull market, so that propelled us quite high. But I don't think we're seeing the same with Neo Tokyo right now, because we're still very much in the shadows, gaming, Illuminati, sort of, you know, very edgy personality, if you will. So I think it's going to take a minute, but when it takes, if it takes you too long, then you probably miss the bus. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of non-citizen FOMO that drives Neo Tokyo to certain heights that it's not here yet. So I'm very excited for it, and I think we got great things coming. Speaking of Neo Tokyo, yeah, there's a lot of cool things happening within the ecosystem. I think there's some good sales happening. Do you have any sales numbers, if we want to cover that?
Yeah, I mean, the S2s are flying. K-Trap is always giving a good rundown of that. And he's showing, you know, major movement across the board with S2s, as more and more people are getting the idea that if you want to get into crypto gaming, if you want all of the opportunities that are coming, you know, you got to grab your S2. And he's just in the past 24 hours, he's showing 26 sales, top sales already up to 4.5 ETH. You know, we don't like to talk about floors, but it's going up because, you know, people don't want to sell and people want to get in. I just
Yeah, man.
watched that Hustlepedia's videos, his live stream this week. He was going over the top 10 projects coming out in 2024 to get excited to invest in, and they're all in Neo Tokyo, and they're all lined up with SitCap with our opportunities. So it's pretty much a no-brainer. You can struggle on the outside, try and figure it out, but just jump in there. You got plenty of networking help, and there it is. I mean, we don't need to make this whole a Neo Tokyo commercial because most of the people checking us out already know all this stuff. So we might as well move on.
To
And
know, it's good to know because S2s are the lowest barrier to entry into our ecosystem, and it's good to know that the lowest barrier to entry is pumping. What that means is the entire ecosystem is on a rise. So it's good to see,
yeah,
and good for our pockets eventually.
right
Go
on.
ahead. What else do we have?
Well, what else? I mean, I'm just looking at like those who are checking into our NFT Market Monday every week. I mean, I made a point this week saying that you might not want to follow all the alpha we drop. Sometimes we're throwing shade at and fading projects that are blasting off. We were kind of killing Pepe for a while. I think it was a couple of weeks in
Yeah,
a row. It's like, oh, the Pepe's going nowhere. We all missed that boat. But one good thing is to actually, invest in the projects that we feature and that come on as guests. This week we had this incredible show with Beam giving away quite a big gift to 3 lucky people. And just check this out, man. Just invest right before. There it is. 17, a few hours after the show.
oh,
We call that the NFT Market Monday bump, up to an all-time high
definitely
of
claiming that.
21 or point 0.2 2.1 cents there. Not bad, man. I
We're
like
claiming
that,
that. Look, I'll be
Yeah,
honest. If you're pulling close to 1,000 listeners like we are, in a space that is so niche, with topics that are so niche, and projects that are still so niche, and still doing numbers like we are, I'll claim the fact that we caused this pump. Obviously, that didn't happen. We don't have that much of a reach. I don't even think Becker says that he's the reason why a lot of these coins pump, because just because we say something doesn't mean that billions of dollars are going to pump into an ecosystem. But it's a good thing to claim.
the thing
But it
that
shows you
if he says
shows
it,
you our track record.
yeah, if he says it, people will believe him, and he might get in
Oh yeah.
trouble. If we say it, it's clearly a joke, So
In fact, if we say it, more people are probably going to sell it because we have a history of being counter traded. Shout out to Doc Yeti. You, you know what I'm talking about. We have a history of being counter traded where every single week on the show, one of us drops a piece of alpha, and the next week, that piece of alpha has been counter traded multiple times over and been highly profitable. Yeah. Anyways,
we get the idea. I do
yeah, you
want to
get the
take
idea.
this though now. I want to take this somewhere here because we're little guys in the whole scene, of course, but we're definitely out there, and we do have a voice here at Neo Tokyo News. We very much like to shed light on the builders in Neo Tokyo. We like to, highlight all the great things that are coming out of the Citadel and these projects that are coming out producing, you know, good products. A lot of them are crypto gaming because that's our focus, but then other projects that are coming out of there, we feature them. We do Twitter spaces about them. We write articles about them, and most of the time they turn out to be great projects. There's been a lot of good stuff coming out of the Citadel. Nowadays, all these great things are coming into the Citadel. But I think it's important, right? And then maybe we should just take 1 second here, but, because we're getting into some little segment we like to call spicy rubbish. So we'll drop our little video for this, but basically the idea here is that we have to have some accountability as well. Okay, so here we go. This is our next segment. So basically the idea here is, we're covering these projects, we shed the light on them. Now, sometimes these projects and these project founders don't turn out to be all that they promised, right? And sometimes people put up quite a bit of investment in support of these projects. Sometimes Neo Tokyo's brand itself puts itself out on the line to support these projects. And when those projects don't come through, or even, could we say soft rug, there needs to be some
Ooh.
accountability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
Because,
can I
we've
just
tried,
quickly add? Can I
please
just
do.
quickly add? There's a difference between failing or just being unable to deliver on your mission statement, which is part of any natural business. And there's a difference between not trying to or seeming like you're not making an attempt to do that. So just wanted to put that out.
So basically, we're talking to you, Dr. JPEG, and we're really, focusing quite a bit here on NFA, non-fungible arcade. This came up for me this weekend, because a good friend of ours, Jeff Treves, who's done amazing things for the Citadel, incredible artist. He's got a really cool project, Birthmark app, doing tattoo work and putting tattoos on the blockchain and this whole thing. Super cool.
Shout out
And
Jeff, man.
come talk to us sometime. Come on board here. Anyways, SitCap did an accelerator raise for him this weekend, and it didn't really fly totally, as much as I would have liked to have seen. And it made me think, that there's some residue there, because SitCap also did a little accelerator program for Mr. JPEG himself there, NFA. And that might have left a bad taste in people's mouths, right? Which I don't think is fair, because there's a lot of good people like Jeff doing really good quality work, right?
Oh
Now,
yeah.
and then, it's come up a couple times where it's like, well, should we mention this? And people are like, no, it shouldn't be talked about. You don't want to put out FUD. You don't want to put out negativity, right? And I can understand that to a certain degree. But to another aspect here, that makes us lose credibility, because we are going to be supporting projects, and we're going to be trying to like shed light of like how great they are, right? But if a project kind of just dumps, and somebody like this just disappears, and leaves all these people that are invested hanging, and we just watch, the like on Blur, it's like, oh, they're just taking bids, and now all of a sudden it's like, 0.0001 ETH, nobody can sell nothing. At that point, there needs to be some accountability. It's not like we
Yeah.
really enjoy doing that, although we do sometimes enjoy a little roast. Shout out to Fiji and his hats, man. You got your Fiji hat yet? But,
No, probably still in the mail. Uh, I do want to say though, so with NFA, I've noticed a trend in the past that we saw this with Opus Labs as well. And just for the record, just to let you know, I know that this piece is called Spicy Rubbish, but this is not just us being malicious for the reason of being malicious. We have to have our people's backs as well. So somebody has to come out and speak for anything. And if tomorrow Neo Tokyo does something wrong, we're probably going to stand up and speak. And we have in the past, and things have been cleared up, and it's all good. And that's the way to go about business, being grown ass people. So we've done this with Opus Labs before. We had the founder of Opus Labs on one of our Market Monday shows, actually. And he cleared up a lot of audience questions, a lot of, screenshots and allegations and things like that. Some people were satisfied with it. Others weren't. But I feel like we took a pretty balanced approach towards it. So it's not necessarily a hit piece, but we have to cover things when they pop up like this, because I feel like not enough people know. And if you're invested, especially, I feel you deserve to know. So ZeHi, with NFA, what is exactly going on, or what has happened that has, prompted people to think that this may be a soft rug? Because my entire timeline these days is going on about how NFA is a soft rug. Now, I do remember what you have on the screen. They were really advertising this 500,000 USDC giveaway, which to me initially I thought, oh, some lucky guy is going to win $500,000, but that's not how it was supposed to be. And being at the marketing forefront of a company that is going to be leading the charge for crypto gaming, it's a bit sad to see that they're not up there right now, even if it's just from a hype perspective, not from a infrastructure, and we have these projects and these things in play. Like nobody's even speaking about them on my timeline unless it's in a negative light. So I want to ask you, what exactly has caused this negativity towards NFA, and how much of it do you think is warranted?
Well, I think it's quite warranted, I want to say that I definitely don't want any ill will towards any individuals. Um, a lot of rugs and soft rugs happen because people are not doxxed. And JPEG was quite doxxed. He was out there. I got to meet him. I got to, go to an arcade with him, hang out with him. He seemed like a nice enough guy. Um, but the project didn't really go over well. The last couple mints didn't do well. The first like pre-sale mint went really well, and it went up to about 1 ETH. And then after that, he did that other raise for SitCap, and he did those other two mints, and they kind of flopped a bit. And he started to get a little less present. And then he put out some tweet that he was going on vacation for some months and he was going to be traveling. And then, pretty much all communication stopped. You can look at his Twitter, and it has been quite barren since the last few months. Right there, nothing since October 20th. So nothing really
Oof.
happening there. On the Discord itself, he was talking about jumping in. I mean, nothing much was happening. He put out a really defensive uh, message announcement, just like railing on those who were complaining. And then, a few weeks later, said something about a poker game he was working on. But all the activity is pretty much stopped. And I wouldn't say the project is dead. What I would say is, JPEG, if you're out there, I personally sent him a message before doing this piece, because I'm not going to just do like, a hit on anybody here. We're calling out, and we're letting you know that anybody who's coming out of the Citadel and using Neo Tokyo to raise up their own brand or their own name is going to be held accountable. And if you're going to disappear, the Citadel's watching. We're going to
Yeah,
send
man.
out, some scouts and try and see what's up. So invitation is to come back, put effort in to making something out of this project that you've created. That's the main goal here.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to explain yourself, you don't necessarily need a platform from us. But if you want to, hop on a show and explain to people that are already listening to the same narrative within this same distribution channel, you can hop on with us or with anybody in our ecosystem for that matter, and try and explain yourself. Because I mean, I believe everybody at least is deserves a right to explain themselves. But with that being said, you can't really excuse being absent as a founder. I feel like if people have invested money with you, then they deserve to know your every single move. And especially if you have your personal life tied to the brand. I mean, you're posting your McLarens and, presenting this lifestyle that is, a result of this whole crypto gaming wave. And you're now going to fill everybody's pockets with another, McLaren keys, if that's the case. I'm just joking around. But if that's the image that you're portraying, and if there's genuinely people that have put hard-earned money behind you and your vision, then the least that they can do, the absolute least that they can do, is hold you accountable. And that goes out to any founders. You're not allowed to run away from your investors holding you accountable, because I feel like in crypto, people have this misperception that NFT holders are just people that have purchased PDFs and sorry, JPEGs. I keep saying PDFs, but that's not the case. If you take if you take the NFT technology within the context of traditional business, you're going to see that NFTs are just another way of raising money. So it's just investors. That's what it is. If I'm purchasing your NFT, as Non-Fungible Arcade or anybody, then I'm an investor in your project because I'm getting a share in exchange for money that I'm giving you. And you're using that money to build a vision that you outlined to me before I invested. So I'm an investor in your project. So with that in mind, I have every single right to hold anybody accountable whose project that I invest in, especially if you lay out a roadmap that says you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and it hasn't been done. The least that I could do is hold you accountable. And I don't think I'm being malicious with that. So if you think I am, then come here, speak to me. I'll put my glasses on. You don't want that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's going to go terminate again. Yeah, man, this is nothing malicious here, man. This is all love, but it's like, sometimes we got to call our friends out and say, "Hey, man, step up." It's not easy. If your project isn't going well, if the investors and people in the community are starting to complain, it can be hard. But hey, you signed up for it. You
Yeah.
pulled out what, 600K or something?
Oh, did he?
Allegedly. Who knows?
Is that what allegedly
Anyways.
happened? Yeah, anyways.
Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly, there was a few mints and a raise that equaled somewhere around that amount, and what did we get out of it was a good, hey, I'm going on vacation. Maybe we'll play poker sometime.
For a couple of months? What kind of vacation is
Yeah.
that? I want to go on one of those. Yeah. Anyways, I think we've covered the bulk of it. I mean, we could get a bit ugly with this. We have tweets and we have screenshots and we have allegations. If you guys want to see that, you can comment down below. Maybe we reveal some of that at a later stage. But ZeHi, what do you think? Should we keep those at bay for now, or do you just want to let the floodgates open?
Yeah, no, I think at this point, we said what we have to say. We're going to do our best to highlight the positive things coming out of the Citadel. There's a lot of projects coming to us and saying, "Hey, we want to get some attention. We want to be on the shows. We want to have you write an article about us." And we're going to do our best to vet the projects and feature them, when we feel like, it's legit and we believe in them. But if we get, the rug pulled from under us, we have every right to report on that as well. And I don't think that reflects badly on Neo Tokyo to do that. I think that actually is a positive, and it shows that we're going to hold people accountable. We're going to, do our best to make sure that anybody using our name follows through and does their best,
Yeah, and I also don't think that every single project that comes out of Neo Tokyo is officially affiliated with Neo Tokyo. I mean, you have only very few projects that are officially affiliated with Neo Tokyo or are the official anything of Neo Tokyo. I mean, Neo Tokyo News isn't even the official news source of Neo Tokyo, and I think we kind of want to keep it that way because of the spicy rubbish that we put out sometimes. But I think SitCap and maybe a few others are the only official Neo Tokyo linked projects. So even with that in mind, there's not necessarily any bad blood going towards Neo Tokyo with any of this. But with that being said, I think this whole story reminds me of a little something that we may need within the crypto space. Some people call it regulation. So I think this is a good transition into that topic. So here we saw Bitcoin drop about 10% recently, and people are saying that's because Elizabeth Warren, people's favorite, is trying to introduce a bill to crack down on BTC and crypto. So this happened a couple of days ago. It was, I believe, 2 days ago now when this news broke out. And we're seeing a lot of mixed reviews about what's happening. Let me share a tweet with you now. There's this, recurring theme about regulation coming in and just breaking the back of this entire industry. And I just want to speak on this tweet by the Kabisi letter. Sorry, I butchered your name. I do that sometimes. So there was a drop, a 10% drop in the price of Bitcoin over Sunday, where BTC fell. Well, it's 5%, but it was 5% in 2 minutes to be precise, and then another 5% over, I think, a couple of hours. And people are saying that this is because there's been rumors about this new bill being introduced that is going to bring into greater compliance this industry that we know and cherish. Now, how much of all of this is FUD and how much of all of this is actually something that we should be worried about. For that, I want to, take you through a tweet from Julian that I'm going to share now. And Julian just mentions about the fact that Elizabeth Warren has been, making these claims for a very long time now, but she has a very bad track record of actually getting anything through. So again, just a reminder, U.S. Senate Elizabeth Warren is trying to introduce a bill to crack down on BTC and crypto. And it is said that she's basically trying to do that so that we can, get rid of all the money laundering, all the tax harvesting, all the, tax evasion, everything of that nature. So you can go ahead and read that anywhere you want. But to be honest, if you look at her track record, there's been 305 bills introduced by her. 0 became law. So that's already a, 0 out of 305. And then 1766 co-sponsored, out of which only 45 became law. So it does seem like she's an IRL engagement bait role. And there's nothing that's really come out of it. And, it also makes you think how much of the FUD that comes out in the news is manipulation, and how much of the FUD is used by the U.S. government to now drive prices down. Because let me just share a quick little stat with you guys. ZeHi, do you have any idea who the largest single body holder of Bitcoins is in the world? You may know who it is.
Is it the sailor dude and all that?
MicroStrategy is a good guess, but you'd be wrong in saying that, because the
MicroStrategy,
the biggest holder of Bitcoin currently, officially, on the books right now is the U.S. government, and that's a result of all the Bitcoin that they've seized via Silk Road and all these other scams. So it's very convenient that they hold 207,189 Bitcoin officially, as per various news sources. So that makes you think how much of the FUD is really FUD and how much of it is just them trying to drive prices down, as we saw in that news article. And then if you go back down into sort of the whole idea of bringing some sort of relation to crypto, there's this idea that crypto is unregulated. We need to crack down on criminals because they use crypto for money laundering and for drugs and for human trafficking and all these bad things. Seems like ZeHi and I are one of those people, allegedly, apparently, out here shitting spicy rubbish into a mic. But anyway, so Dave Weisberger here, ties crypto to cash. And he just changes the whole perspective of the conversation, where he says, can someone explain how requiring KYC for non-custodial functions is any different from mandating that to all stores, kiosks, street vendors, or service providers conduct full KYC requiring ID for all customers that use cash? Now, if you purchase anything from a shop in cash, you understand that cash is also very easily untraceable. And cash, if you look at the stats, is used a lot more for drugs and money laundering and kidnapping than crypto is. And cash has been here for much longer, has a lot of blood on his hands compared to crypto. Now, why is cash not given the same level of, scrutiny? Because I feel like, personally, there's this vendetta or whatever from traditional finance, from the government types, from these bad guys, so to say, allegedly, just throwing that out there, to just suppress this industry and just keep us down in the gutters. And also because I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact that you cannot sell the top if you don't make the top. Does that make sense? If I'm the U.S. government and I hold 207,189 BTC, let's put that aside. If I'm Elizabeth Warren and I have some very rich friends, like any politician does, and we're going to get to a rich politician in a second because he's tearing up the Twitter pages right now. But if I have all these rich friends, then it's not going to hurt me to just say, you know what, let me try pass a bill to introduce a little bit of regulation. And it's just a coincidence that the price dropped 10%. So yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting story. How much of it develops into something material, I don't know, because I feel like every single week there's some piece of FUD about how the government is going to regulate us and steal all our bags, and it still hasn't happened. So at this point, I'm growing numb to it, and until it happens, it's just all just not so spicy rubbish. But I do want to get into something that is, I wouldn't necessarily call it spicy. I wouldn't call it rubbish. Yeah.
Just one thing on Elizabeth Warren, all her okay, you covered her success rate, which is a great one. Now just what about her net worth and her salary?
Ooh,
This is like talking about like where's the money, Net worth 67 million. Her salary is 285,000. Monthly income 400,000. Now, how does that math
400,000?
work? There's definitely a lot of money in the
400,000 and
background.
she's only 5'7"? No ways. Yeah, man, that's it's suspicious. There's a lot of Senate members that have a track record of insider trading, and there's nothing's done about it. But me being someone that's not in the U.S., I can't really comment on that. But if you throw shade at my industry, I'm going to throw shade back at you. Not that it does anything for you, but anyway,
That's what I'm saying, man.
it is very sketchy that these politicians have such a high net worth, and on paper they're only supposed to be paid about $120,000 a year, but who's counting, right? So speaking of rich politicians, while Elizabeth Warren has been trying to get this bill passed, we have an ex-US president, Donald Trump, who's promoting his new NFT collection called it's a $99 collection, and it's called the Mugshot Edition. I believe that this is an edition of Donald Trump's mugshots, or his mugshot just spread across different NFT silhouettes. How do you beat that? How do you beat that? I don't understand. On the one side, you have a member of the Congress or the Senate, whatever, trying to introduce a bill to crack down on money laundering and all of this BS that allegedly happens in crypto, and it does. And then on the other end, you have Donald Trump openly promoting his NFT collection. So this is another piece of confirmation that we live in a simulation, and yeah, I think it's a jokey world, man.
Yeah, man, you can't make this stuff up.
Right.
All I know is the more I hear about these attacks on crypto, the more I believe in what we're doing. The more I believe in the need to have an alternative system. And it's obvious the reasons that they're desperately trying to control these things is because it is a system that they are unable to control.
And
right now they want us to buy into a system where it's like we put the money in the banks and it's not our money anymore. So easy to control, easy to tax. And of course, there does need to be some regulation, and we've discussed that before, and that can only help in certain ways, but it needs to be put together by people who at least understand and respect the technology.
100%. And I mean, if you look at BTC, that's a lot of the problems that it solves are to do with, just putting your money in your hands. And while we're on BTC, let's just look at the price action. So with the news that we've covered about Elizabeth Warren and the bill being passed, don't get it twisted with the fact that the proof isn't in the pudding. Everything is on the charts. If you look at the RSI, which is the relative strength index, you could see the bearish divergence play out with RSIs making lower low and prices making higher highs. So if anything, it was a age old, one of the most simplest ways for you to sell the market and possibly make a nice 9 to 8 to 10% profit. So Bitcoin is currently at 41,000. I don't necessarily think that there's much TA to be done here, but there's a smaller time frame range forming for those of you that are even interested in this. There's a very small time frame range forming with the range lows at 40,600. I believe if we break these lows, we visit this 38,000 cluster, which to me seems like a pretty no-brainer place to go. And then we take it from there. And then if we happen to claim above 42,000, something like this, then let's try aim for higher highs, 45,000. And maybe that's the cue for you to get into those dirty bag altcoins, buy some Beam, buy some, whatever coins that we've been discussing, and pump your bags. So yeah, that's a little bit of what's it called? What does Phoenix call it? Broken what alpha? There you go.
Broken clock
That's a little bit
alpha,
of
man. It's always
yeah,
right. At
that's
least
a little
twice
bit
a
of broken
day.
clock alpha if you want to apply it. I do want to get into something else though, ZeHi. TVD made a tweet. I think we can transition into a little bit more of a news and gaming based stories. I'm just going to pull up this tweet here. So TVD, good friend of mine, posted a tweet about Epic versus Google. So for context, a lot of you remember that Epic Games made this hit piece video on Apple a while ago. Which was, I believe, a reference to 1948 or something I can't recall. But anyways, it was a reference to an old historic scene out of a book about how the tyranny of one or the monopoly of an oppressor is keeping the oppressed, and the whole idea was that Apple is charging a very high fees, 30% commission on all the sales of V-Bucks and every single skin that you purchase from within Fortnite, and Epic thought that was severely monopolistic, and I believe the same was with Google. Now, I don't necessarily know what's happened with Apple so far, but apparently it seems like Epic Games has been voted in favor, and the jury unanimously delivered their verdict and found that Google turned its Google Play App Store and Google Play billing service into an illegal monopoly. So now Epic Games has finally seen this battle come into fruition. And for those of you, just by the way, when this whole thing started, a lot of you don't understand that Epic Games is owned by Tencent, which is another giant next to Apple. So it's not just teeny tiny Fortnite suing Apple, it's the big dogs. So with that being said, I think this is a pretty positive thing for gaming in general. I think Epic Games has really made moves for gamers that understand what in-game assets are. If you played Fortnite, if you played Rocket League, if you played any of their games, you can buy a skin within the game, and you have it, and it's unique to yourself to some extent because skins only come in seasons and then you can't purchase them anymore, so there's a window to purchase them. And I think the idea of in-game assets has really been hit home by Epic Games. So seeing them take this win is very good, because I think for the entire gaming industry, it gives a lot of breathing room for creators and for gamers to and for gaming studios to just be able to have a little bit more financial freedom and a little bit more of a say in these markets. Because yes, you can list a product on Amazon all you want, but if you can have a little bit of say on the commissions and the fees and everything of that sort, if nothing's being overly monopolistic, then I think you're in a good business position and you're not being disadvantaged as somebody who's using Apple's or Google's platform for conducting commerce. So TVD says Apple is next. But yeah, huge congratulations to Epic, and I just thought this was a worthy opponent to put up against our news on Elizabeth and Donald Trump. I think it's pretty cool what's happening over with the lawsuit, and it's a win for the gaming industry, which is what we're in. So yeah, a little bit of news over there.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, this doesn't have a direct reference to anything, crypto related, but it definitely opens the door and is headed in the right direction for adoption of more, crypto games being included on these app stores, the main app stores, specifically Google's on this one, because mobile gaming and crypto mobile gaming is really where mass adoption could have its first and most pronounced entrance, into really expanding the horizons of crypto gaming. So this ruling could be the first little pebble that's falling in an avalanche of positive news for the crypto gaming industry.
Yeah.
And, definitely it's a good metaphor to follow because Avalanche seems to be
Yeah, I do
leading
want
the
to
way
mention
quite a
though,
bit as
there
well.
have been certain games on the Epic Games Store that have been crypto and NFT affiliated. We have DeFi Mons, we have the Blancos Block Party. There's been Legends of Bezogia. I'm not necessarily shilling any of these games. There's Superior, there's Grit, there's the Machines Arena. So there's a fair amount of blockchain based games that are on Epic Games. So perhaps this effect waters down into flows over into those games, and we see some sort of mainstream adoption, because maybe this opens doors for a lot of crypto games to now be on iPhones or to now be on Google Play stores. So that could be a thing.
Yeah, man, good things coming. I believe it. Um, I think we're gonna wrap up nice and tight here. Wishing our best wishes again to But Would You. Why don't you leave some comments there? Leave some flower emojis for But Would You. Get him back here because you guys need his alpha. I don't know about you, but I spent a nice rainy day this weekend doing some farming. Couldn't be farming outside. Was over in Solana, following his guidance and doing some farming over there. There's a lot happening. Play around with
Yeah,
those
man, you don't want to
DeFi
miss out.
protocols.
Yeah, you don't want
Good
to miss
things to
out. Even
come.
if
Throw seeds. You just throwing seeds into the ground. Some of them turn into beautiful fruits. So
Yeah,
you can
I think
feed your whole
as
family
but Woodger
before you
says,
know
a
it.
lot of people think about doing things, and a lot few of them just go out and do it. And until you go ahead and do it, there's no reward. Being early into knowing something has no benefit to you. Being early into doing something may have a benefit to you. And put your ego aside. Throw $50 into something, and if it turns into 1,000, worst case, you can buy yourself a new iPhone. And that's how I think about it.
Well, the best thing with a lot of these DeFi protocols, you don't even have to put that much into it. You just play around with it. And he was going to come on today. I bet he was going to talk about that, of just like rolling stables through these DeFi protocols, and then you put this stable in there, and you take some, you borrow some, and then you put it in the next one, and you borrow some, and you just run these stables, and it's a pretty safe way to do it because you don't have to deal with the fluctuations and the chances of getting liquidated. Of course, everybody's got to know what they're doing, but there's ways to definitely maximize your potential to get the most out of these potential airdrops that are coming. So check him out. If he's well, he'll be over in the crypt down in the S2 Discord on Neo Tokyo. And you can check us out always. We're producing what we can here for content. We'll be trying to drop another one next week, and we'll be back on NFT Market Monday. You know what? We might actually have a special guest this week. There's some chance that we might have an angelic overlord that just comes down and blesses us.
Are you feeling it this time?
I'm feeling it, Chomsky.
Do you think this is the one?
I'm really feeling this is going to be the time. I'm feeling it. It's like, I've studied these spiritual things. I've spent time in the Amazon jungle, and worked with these really powerful mediums. And when the angels come, you can feel it because you get kind of tingly. You get these tingly sensations, and it kind of it just opens your heart, and you feel like you want to just give praises and thanks. And I'm starting to feel that way, and I have a feeling that this Market Monday, we might actually see the presence of one angelic overlord. It's actually making me want to bang on a gong right now.
Yeah,
what do you think? You got anything else to close us out with? Okay,
you know what a good friend of ours,
Phoenix
Down, would say to that statement? He would say that if you really feel this tingle, why not put money behind it? So I want to bet you, ZeHi, a good fat old $25 that this angelic overlord is not coming. Is he? Well, we'll find out in the next. Okay, let's go. So
I
that's
got
the
that bet
to close the show with the gong man himself. And we're gonna see you guys in the next week for NFT Market Monday, and then before that, nothing before that. That's that. ZeHi's just going crazy with the gong. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you when we catch you.